Hello, and we are back with another round of Collegiate League of Legends. Another big thank you to OWU Esports for allowing us to co-stream. So we're bringing you OWU versus the University of North Georgia. Now, the University of North Georgia has dropped a few games throughout the season, and so have our Battling Bishops. So this should be a good close series and an entertaining one, and we'll see how it goes. So we're waiting in Champ Select. The teams are loading in, deciding what their picks and bans are going to be. We will see if we continue to see those mid lane bans coming through against Haru and go from there. Welcome XJ. XJ is playing spectator for the first game. XJ, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So we're going to see as we go in where things go. There are a lot of different options for OWU as far as picks and bans go here. The jungler for University of North Georgia has preferred initiating junglers. Things like Sejuani, things like Skarner, things like the Amumu. So we'll see how that goes. Their mid laner plays a lot of aggressive skirmishers, things like Ari, Akali, some of those assassins who can really get in and do some damage to the bottom lane. So we're going to find out if they decide to leave those on the table, take them off, which way they decide to go. So XJ, if you're here with us, who do you think's taking the series, and how many games do you think it'll be? What do you think? Do you think it's 2-0? Do you think it's 2-1? What do you think? XJ calling for the sweep. We shall see. I think North Georgia has a lot of tools that'll play well into OWU. OWU has shown a lot of heart during the last series. Really kind of made a lot of progress back towards where they were looking to be. So we'll see if they can continue that today, continue rolling with that momentum, or if um, UNG will give them a hard time. You unmute and you think you're going to be right into champ select. So, uh, we've been running some stats 2-0 sweep. Ooh, with enthusiasm. With enthusiasm. I'm going to, for which team? There's the question. Do you think it's going to be OWU sweeping? Or do we have a naysayer? What's the way you go? Yeah, you've got exactly one series of experience and they swept it, so that's what they do 100% of the time. That's fair. Uh, we'll pull up some stats as we go along. Right now, OWU has a 33% win rate across the season, winning 3 sets, losing 6. In addition to this, we have one more session, so they can pull it back to about 40 some percent, 44%, something like that, on the season, which I believe should be good enough to make berth into the playoffs and see how they can do there. So hopefully they'll make a strong showing these last 2 weeks and get to extend their season for a little bit longer. Okay, we are ready for bans. OWU's first to ban, they take Mordekaiser off the board, targeting that AP option for the top lane. University of North Georgia, waiting on their ban, looking at the Udyr, which means that they're probably targeting out Kingfish out of the jungle. OWU's going to come back. Take a look. Are they going to leave the Akali on the board for the mid laner? Are they going to leave the Ahri? They're taking a look at the Skarner, still considering it, and they decide to lock the ban. The Katarina coming off the table from University of North Georgia. That's not a huge surprise. What will the last OWU ban be? Are they going to leave the Akali? Are they going to leave the Ahri? The Kassadin. And here comes the Jax ban. That's an interesting play. So OWU first to pick, and they're looking to insta-lock the Amumu. That gives them strong initiation out of the jungle, a little bit of comfort from the last season, and it's a takeaway from University of North Georgia's jungler. University of North Georgia thinking about what their two picks will be. Oftentimes teams won't lock the first until they've got an idea of what their 1-2 is. Looking towards the Zac, and Zac can be played top jungle or support in the current meta, and occasionally shows up mid lane as well, so a lot of flexibility there. But my guess is probably out of jungle for an initiation. Are they going to partner that with something like an Orianna who could make use of the Zac jump in to start some team fights? Or are they just looking for another tanky option with the Amumu? They're going to take the Braum. That's an interesting play. Braum wasn't being contested as far as I can tell. So I'm interested to see why they're taking it early. Maybe they're looking to see what other options they have going in. Maybe they're saying, we know you're going to take some really high damage, long range champs. Nautilus being hovered, that wouldn't be a surprise. Lurata's favored that in the second half of the season, and that is locked. And let's see if we end up with a mid lane pick here, or if it falls to the second set. They're thinking, taking their time. And they pick up the Twitch. That is an interesting third pick, first rotation. That is not the way I thought it'd go, but with securing your bottom lane, you're ensuring that at least one of your solo laners has counter pick, which is a good option going into the blue side, but it does mean that they can pinch those pools a little tighter. So let's see what North Georgia decides to do with their last pick here on the first rotation. Are they going to pick an Akali now that they see the Twitch, something that can get in there and really take him out? They're going with the Jinx. That is not surprising, given the Braum, but it is something that I really would have loved to see OWU ban out because that is their late game win condition that they've fallen back to on multiple series now. Let's see if they decide to finish the mid lane or the top lane. Do we see a Vladimir ban or something towards, the Olaf or something towards? It is going to be that Vladimir ban. Not a surprise. Let's see if they decide to pinch the mid lane pool or go towards the top lane. Looking to knock the Ornn off the board. They don't want that very strong front to back. The University of North Georgia's already got a lot of beef. And instead they take the set off the board. That's interesting. There goes the Tryndamere. And let's see what the last man is here for OWU. Waiting until the very end for the last ban. And it's going to be a Malphite ban. Really trying to take some of those initiation options off the board. So let's see if we see a mid laner or a top laner here. I think it's likely we could see either. If they see a mid lane pick, that would pinch Haru's pool even more, which would be a strong idea, but Not the only option they could go with. The Renekton is the hover, and that's going to give OWU's top laner counter pick. So let's see what Haru chooses to go with. He's got a few options in his bag left to pull. See if they're going to go for something longer range. Maybe a Hui or a Lux. And wait just a little while longer on that top lane counter pick. The Hui comes through. And let's see what they round up the composition with into a Renekton. If they weren't so AP heavy, you could go with something like a Rumble into the Renekton. You could go with a Gragas, but they are a little AP heavy. You know, maybe something like a Fiora would be a good pick here. Olaf. That is not a shock. This is not the first game for Kingfish on Olaf up in that top lane if Kingfish is operating it. And let's see what they round out University of North Georgia's comp with in that last pick. With the Amumu with the Nautilus, that Akali is starting to look like a worse and worse pick, especially, running the Olaf. There are not a lot of assassination targets here, and the Syndra makes a ton of sense. Their mid laner has been pretty effective on that Syndra through previous games. And we are going to be going into the game pretty quickly now. We're going to go ahead and run our ad break now so that we're not interrupted during the game. And then as soon as it's over and the game is ready, we'll jump in. We'll see you soon. Hello, welcome back. We have about a minute and a half till we can get in and spectate this game. I'm going to start a prediction poll for us here. And we'll give it 5 minutes. We're going to start a prediction. Who wins game one? OWU versus UNG. We've seen the drafts. Now the question is, who does it right? We've got channel points going up on OWU. That is you, the person I'm thinking it is. You've got plenty of channel points to spare. So we've got an Amumu out of jungle, which I think is a really good pickup for the side of OWU. I think the Olaf is fine. It can run through and really kind of ignore some of that CC. The Zac is a match to the Amumu, but I think a less strong one. So happy to have the Amumu over the Zac. I think the mid lane is where OWU is going to see some struggles. The difference between, and we are getting into game. Difference between a Syndra and a XJ. Thank you so much for the good luck. Have fun. I will make sure that it's called out on the stream. Normally we have a little pop-up, but we don't today because we are streaming and we don't want to interrupt too much for those. But if you come on other days, it'll show a little one of our rabbit pictures, which is a very normal and good thing to do. So I like the movement into Zac. I think the Olaf into Renekton is fine. I think early Renekton is stronger. I think as the game goes along, you more and more prefer the Olaf. But if the Renekton can get ahead, it does a lot of damage. Bottom lane, we have what should be a winning lane in the Nautilus Twitch into the Jinx, but I think it is very likely to be a bit of a wash. So we'll see how that goes. I would have liked to have seen them ban that Jinx, ban that Syndra, and kind of put themselves in a position to push for a late game win. I think the Syndra is a really good bridge from University of North Georgia to get from a mediocre position to a winning one. Because early game you have a strong top mid jungle, and late game you have a good pick on the Syndra and that strong Jinx to really carry it home. So it looks like both sides are going to leash, which is again becoming less and less common, but still seems to be pretty common in our collegiate league here. And as we see our junglers have both taken the green trinket, matching across the board as far as starts go. Haru taking a little bit of damage from that level 1 orb from Syndra. So she has got a lot of range, which good dodge out from Lorada, getting bush control. Much easier versus that melee versus melee matchup compared to some of those ranged matchups that we've been seeing. Engaging in as they pop level 2 is a bold strategy. They knew they were losing though an early flash and an early no heal from Lorada despite the pinging from Braum. So we're going to see. Sleepers is a little down on CS, about half a wave. Finally pops that level 2. And they are quickly kind of falling behind that Jinx lane in the bottom. That is one of those things where I sit there and I go, it is very easy to know exactly when someone's going to pop level 2. Happens at the same time every time. When all three of the melees go. Haru trying to make something happen in the mid lane, but taking more damage than he gives. Kingfish trading in the top lane at a nice positive trade, but the other lane's faring a little worse. Ooh. Aggressive back and forth up top. Now, the Twitch has actually settled the lead. Closing in on separating out, but it looks like the lane is pushing. So there's a lot of CS left to pick up. Haru has chugged a potion, gotten himself topped off, and continues to push the wave out. Zac, as we know, is looking mid for a gank now. We'll see if he finds an angle. It looks like he will. Thur, on the other hand, is looking to go top. And this looks like it may be an opportunity for first blood out of... Yep, not going to burn a summoner... Oh, he is going to burn a summoner spell. And there is no one to help him. Here comes the Amumu. But too little, too late. He should have kept walking. A nice attempt, but ultimately... First blood goes down on Haru. He does have the TP so we can get back to lane. Bottom lane, there is a 10 CS gap opening up, and the Jinx has more CS left to farm. They really need to get this pushed into turret and get it bouncing. They have it pushed out in a spot that's not ideal. Let's see if they can get some good damage down, but it's all on the Braum. Braum is happy to take that damage to let the Jinx farm. Every time that Jinx gets to stay even on CS, that's winning. Jinx a late game carry. Looks like we've got a play coming up top lane. Zac's giving a little bit of a look. No ghost right now on the Olaf, so he does not have that escape, but they do know that he's hanging out there being mischievous. So it looks like Kingfish will continue to grow his CS lead while the bottom lane is falling behind. On the plus side, they do have this lane bouncing back to them, so it's in a spot where they can start picking up more and more of the farm. Ooh, now that's a better engage, but you're not going to be able to get the damage down on that Jinx through the wall. Twitch deciding to go a little bit more aggressive, popping the barrier when no more damage is coming in. Probably should have popped that early if you were going to. And is going to try to catch the CS and stop it from going all the way into turret. So they're going to... It looks like University of North Georgia is pushing in behind the Dragon Pit for some good deep vision. And here comes another play at Haru. The disadvantage of that mid lane, boy, as soon as you have your lane in a bad position, it becomes so hard to force it into reset. So we've got a late reset from Sleepers. Let's see if they can clear that wave and get a reset timer so they can be back on the board before the next wave gets shoved in. They may end up losing more CS than they gain by sticking around. Let's see. Looks like they're going to make a play, but mostly just to make sure that they can't catch the rest of this wave under turret. They're being ghosted by Mumu, who gives up the play there and decides to keep rotating to try to get his farm ahead. And it looks like Northern Georgia will just turn this into a play for the Dragon. No contest from OWU, and they have no right to contest, so that's the way to be. Without the pressure on bottom lane, without the first reset from bottom lane, this really isn't a play that they can take.
Red team has slain the dragon.
Top lane is up 2 waves. Mid lane is down about a wave and a half or so. And quite a bit of poke. But some good damage back from Haru. Looks like they're going to make a play at to ensure that those grubs go down, and that's a nice opportunity for them to get an objective back. Those stay with you all game. That little extra bit of tower damage is pretty meaningful. A little bit of poke from Haru, but Third wants to make good on it, but with that Cinder there, it's probably not advisable. So Twitch has finally reset, gotten themselves a Vamp Scepter, try to stay healthy in the lane. We'll see how that works out. Now, Twitch has to know that something's up. They went past the lane. And here, let's see what they can do. A miss from the first Q. And an aggressive second Q. And that's going to be a trade kill. Sleepers manages to get back in the lane. But down about, what, 3 waves or so? So that gold differential is really starting to become a thing. If I remembered my keybinds, I would swap it over to see where our total gold was. I will need to check that out between Game 1 and Game 2. Zach, just taking a look, see if there's anything to get top. It looks like they're going to get a plate here for bot lane, which is a nice little bit of gold here. Back to the bot laners. And that'll help out as they step away with the advantages they've gained. But they are down, still down 2.5 waves or so. And it is down, it is showing up in their gold differential. Now that's a good pull into the tower range, but it's going to be quite a bit of damage back on Larada. That damage is traded back to the Braum, but the damage on the ADC always more valuable in these situations than the damage on... Ooh, top lane, we're making another play. Let's see what we've got. Doesn't look like it's happening now. Meanwhile, the Syndra is doing work on Haru here. And Larada barely gets out, barely dodging. Sleeper flashes out, probably not needed in that situation to continue to farm. They need to get all the way back. They need to recall here. But it looks like they're wanting to stay and watch, which is going to be a problem when this Zac comes. This was kind of an obvious play here. It's an unfortunate. It was pinged out. No attempt was made to avoid it. And that's going to give up a kill underneath the turret. Zac having his passive, not in any danger of dying. OWU down 1-3. They do still have some advantages. The top lane is a point of strength, but let's see if Kingfisher can make anything out of it. Right now, I don't believe he is bot since his previous fight win. So at some point, he's going to have to recall and get that. Now, he does not want to let that Renekton just free hit his turret, but he doesn't have a lot of options here because that's what happens. Better to drop the wave and come back. Unfortunate. So the point of power has just been flipped on its head, and OWU is looking at like they're in a precarious position. Amumu would love to get the Void Grubs, but are they in a position to make that happen? About 2.5 tower plates going down. This could be a third one before Kingfish gets back, and all because he did not want to reset. That is something for a color caster to talk about, and we don't have one of those, so we're going to do our best to provide analysis as we go along. Grubs are going to go for free over to University of North Georgia. There's no contesting it right now. And the ward in the UNG Tribrush will be found out. Haru continues to do a pretty good job of clearing minions. Let's see how he's doing there in that mid lane. Ooh, and Olaf wants to fight. Let's see if he's got it in him. With the Braum up here, probably not. He's going to see if he can get out, but it's going to be a close fight to maybe trade one here. Can he get the second? No, but getting one for one in that situation, not so bad. Tower will probably go down on the back of that. No play to be made here, and now they're going to be in danger of losing one on the... Oof, you don't love to see it. Back of some good rotations for University of North Georgia in Game 1. Tower Tier 1 is down. Let's see how the play goes. Haru desperately trying to get out, but the rotation back just did not give up the push early enough. Those have to be called out. That gives you an opportunity to really play around it. Nautilus is thinking about the hook, but what do you do when you hook them? Right now they're in a situation where they need to go ahead and get farm on those carries, find themselves in a position. Nowhere to go there, Mumu, but right back out as you get smacked with the Scatter of the Weak, which is one of the coolest ability names in the league. Scatter the Weak. And the recall comes through for Syndra. We are looking at an almost 5,000, 4,500 gold lead for University of Northern Georgia. The tower on the top side definitely helpful, equalizing what would otherwise be a point of power. The mid lane, three deaths for Haru and 4 kills for Syndra means that is a one-sided affair. And now Larada finding herself in a position that she may not want to be in. Amumu coming into a spot between far too many people. That's just going to be a free kill. Nothing Haru can do. He can just walk right away from that. And that dragon's going to go over uncontested. We're looking at 2-0 on dragons, 3-3 on grubs. We're looking at 2-9 on kills. And we're looking at about a 5,000 gold advantage. Kingfish is wanting to make a play here, but he's in a tough position. The Eclipse is already done for the Renekton, meaning that he has got that nice little shield on all of their trades, making it much harder to really take advantage of where he is. They'll clear out a ward. They'll stand on the ward instead of clearing it out. Couldn't get that last hit in time. And we'll continue CS. Sleepers down about 4 waves now, which is a pretty substantial amount of gold, but some of that's coming back in this wave. Larada taking a little bit of poke, but nothing of any real danger here. If you're an AD carry at home, make sure that if it's already been hit once, you let the tower hit it first, then you auto attack. And if that's not going to be enough, if the tower is going to kill it and you're not going to be able to kill it from there, then what you want to do is pick that is a good hook, but there's no play to be made here. Your AD carry is not in a position to support, and so it's just going to end up being damage back on Larada. Amumu in a dangerous position, wanting to make a play. Got a good ult, but not enough damage coming through from Haru. Haru is in a really dangerous spot. They may get out, but it'll be close. And it'll be at the expense of Amumu. Here comes Olaf, wanting to make a play. And he is in. and has not yet used his ult. He's going to force the TP out of Renekton, and he's going to call that good. Take advantage of what he can grab, and otherwise just clean up the farm so the tower can't be taken. A good rotation. He got a little bit back, but not enough to win the trade. Just enough to kind of stem the bleeding a little bit. The CS is differential is quickly stacking up on the bottom lane. We're looking at almost 7 or 8 waves now. Six to 8 waves on the bottom side. Becoming really problematic, the difference between the AD carries. We're looking at a completed first item versus a recurve bow and a vamp scepter on the other side. That is not close enough to a... oh, and here it is aggressive positioning. He becomes more tanky when he gets low, but he was far too low to really start that up. And now he's created a situation in which here comes the ult from Jinx. That'll probably be enough for the kill if it lands, but manages to get out. Haru, third, not on the same page. And here they come to clean it up. It looks like people are just kind of not communicating in the same way, not playing together. The recall from Larada to go middle as the support gets killed, as the ADC gets killed bottom. Game quickly spiraling out of control for OWU. All Tier 1 towers are down for OWU. No Tier 1 towers down for University of North Georgia. We're looking at about a 9,000 gold advantage in 18 minutes, which is a pretty substantial amount to make up, if we're being honest. Renekton has a bounty on his head, Zac has a bounty on his head, and Syndra is worth almost a cool 1,000 gold. If you overload one side, maybe they could make a play, but instead, right now, they are just going to take out the Amumu who's farming that red buff. Looks like he is in a position that no one can support him from. Because at this point, even his own jungle is no longer his jungle. He manages to get out safely. And this is the point in time in which, if you're OWU, you start thinking, well, what are we changing about what we did next game? Because, you know, they obviously wanted that first pick of Mumu, really believed in it. I think it's not a bad first pick. I agree with that plan, but the other bans are not necessarily what I would have done in this situation. I would have looked at taking that Jinx off the board. So we'll see. Kingfish is going to go for a bounty, but Renekton will be back in plenty of time to counteract here. Make a counter push. He can get out through the back of the river just fine. There's no one who can follow him up. So let's see if he decides to sacrifice himself for the tower. And he will. Now the question is, can he take the fight afterwards? He does not have his ult anymore. He'll die for it. Dies for the gold of the tower. He does have a stride breaker. Haru goes down as well in the mid lane. So we're looking at a 10,000 gold advantage, almost 500 gold a minute for University of North Georgia. And we're looking at a 2 to 17 kill score. I'll be honest, I've seen games that are closer. OWU is really going to have to work on their mental, reset, clear their heads before coming back. Games like this can be really rough in a series because they can tilt you off the face of the planet. So hopefully they'll be able to take a breath, settle everybody down, come up with a game plan, and look to punish that. They're especially the mid lane and top lane of University of North Georgia. The bot lane has been very happy to just quietly win, collect advantages that they could use to finish out the game, but I'm worried that the middle and top have gotten to a position where, even though they aren't the same sort of late game threats as the Jinx, it doesn't so much matter when you have 7 kills, 2 items, and you're fully finished boots on the Renekton. Now, Haru and Kingfish are farming well, but Syndra is farming better. So even when we just talk about the CS levels, boy, is that becoming a gap that's widening. Kingfish is going to again try to collect a bounty. They're willing to trade the tier 2 for tier 1. Sometimes you don't really have a choice, but with that Rift Herald, um, a tier 2 could quickly become a um, Nexus turret, or Inhib turret rather. So we'll see. And it looks like they will be able to take that as well. Let's see if we end up with a fight, or if they step away. So they take 2 turrets with Rift in trade for just the outer on the bottom side. A trade every team is very happy to take. They get their resets. And um, Kingfish will have to be happy just pushing that mini wave into the turret instead of getting anything bigger for it. The jungle tracking during the early game may have gone a long way, but boy, that Cinder was just absolutely lethal in this early game, and it is likely, if we saw a flash, that it could be a continued issue. Kingfish with a nice little dodge, good slow. Oh, but it's gonna have to burn the ult anyway to get out. And the ghost. Those are most of Olaf's tools to start to utilize the team fight. So OWU's really going to have to figure out how to make a play. Are they going to overload one side, try to catch somebody being greedy? Or are they going to continue to turtle and hope that that goes well? I just don't know that this Twitch, Olaf, and... Oof. I like the look of the Q, but you're giving up your mid turret for it. And I think OWU knows what happens. I think this is a um, slow, methodical, strong push in from University of North Georgia. Here comes the triple inhib. Oh my goodness, you are right. Thank you. And this is going to be the game very soon, it looks like. Finishing up one turret. Here comes the next. And soon thereafter, the Nexus. And that is game 1. Your channel points! Yep, your channel points are gone for game 1. So a strong showing from University of North Georgia. Sorry about the incorrect layout. And we are going to we will go AFK until Champ Select starts again. We'll see you soon. We are back with another Champ Select. Let's see how this one goes. They are banning the Zac first round. OWU still blue side. And the Katarina, they said, you know what, getting rid of that worked pretty good for us last time. Let's see if it works this time. OWU on to ban number 2. Are they going to leave that Cinder up? Or are they going to take it off the board? They are still looking towards the Skarner, really looking to pitch the jungle pool. The Udyr for Kingfish off the board. And last but not least for OWU, what are they going to choose here? The Jinx was going to be an issue, even though it wasn't in the game. The Syndra, I think that's a smart ban. Glad to see the Syndra go. That's a good adaptation. Here comes the Jinx. Let's see if that first pick of Mumu comes out again. We know we're not running it back. We've banned off. OWU has banned 2 of their strong players. Now, I would really like to see. Well, we'll see what North Georgia does in the first rotation. Because I feel pretty confident that Adamumu will be locked. North Georgia to respond. The Sejuani coming out. Is this a Sejuani Yone combo? A Sejuani Yasuo? Let's see if they go all in on that melee option for the mid jungle. And the Rel, a very strong pick for the North Georgia support. Now let's see if Vladimir comes out in the first rotation here. It was banned out during the second. If they want to get that pick, this has to be the time. And they have made that adaptation, or it looks like we are going to see the Vladimir come out, rotation one. And that should put Haru in a much more comfortable position for this game. I am glad to see that change. Now let's see what their last option is. Are they going to pick their support? Are they going to look for the bottom lane? Let's see what they choose to do here. Will we see another Nautilus come out to match the row? The Ash comes through. That has been a strong pick in the past. It is a little rough into Sejuani Rel, but we'll see. We do have a substitution, I believe. So I believe OWU is, and here comes the Orianna. A strong pick for the mid lane again. Another control mage here. I believe we are swapping out the sub sleepers for Sporty Leaf to come back in. I believe that's likely cause of the Ash here. Let's see. They have taken what they are going to take off the board first for University of North Georgia. It looks like they don't want that Olaf, even though the Olaf did not do terribly well into the Renekton. But they said, you know what? I don't want to mess with that again. Under the right circumstances, could really be a danger. Take it off the board. The Renekton as a response, which I think makes some sense. Hovering it, have not yet locked it. Let's see if they do. And that will be the lock. Let's see what University of North Georgia's final ban is. University of North Georgia, of course, winning that first round versus OWU. Taking their time on this one. And it looks like they're going to take the Tryndamere off the table again. So let's see what we end up with as the final ban coming out of OWU. Is it going to be another pinch to the top lane pool? Are we going to see an ADC ban? Where do we want to go? And it looks like they're considering taking Nautilus, the Nasus, the Set, and it will be the Set they clear off the board again. Okay. Here comes University of North Georgia. The Ornn is now open and available, which was a pick that OWU decided to ban previously. Let's see if that becomes a playable pick here. I think it's likely we'll see the Jinx come out on this rotation. No reason to show anything new. Give yourself the counter pick top lane. Ooh, and it's the Kaisa. You've got a lot of dive coming out. That makes me think we've got one more diver coming out for the top lane, whoever that may be. Could be a Camille. So what I might do, given the play rates, is I might look at this and say, wow, we need to make sure that we have somebody who can match up against Camille in the side lane, make plays, split, but also team fight. The Jax would have been ideal for that, but Nautilus comes out. Not a surprise there for Lorata. And who can play into the Camille, or who is blind pickable into this top lane? Is it going to be someone like the Gragas? Is it going to be someone like the Gwyn? Is it going to be someone like Alawi or um, Darius? Let's see who they think is important here. Just a few more seconds. And it's going to be the blind Darius. Now, if they were looking to pick Camille, this would be a fairly good matchup into it. Camille likes to dive onto you. Darius likes people being close. Come hang out. Let's have a party. And so let's see if they still look to go that way or if they're going to rotate into something else. And it's the Malphite. It's the Malphite. That is not where I thought we'd be going. Malphite makes a ton of sense. They've got the Orianna, the Malphite, such a good pairing with it. Ball delivery system right onto the Ashe. I would not want to be Sporty Leaf running into this game. This is going to be a hard one to maneuver. Now, if you play it right and you play it well and you're able to stay safe in the back and initiate, you can allow the Darius and Vladimir to go kind of crazy and come up and support. And it could be a really strong look. But we'll have to see because they do have a lot of tools to attack that Ashe. We're going to go ahead and run our ad break now so that we don't get it in the middle of the game. And then we'll come back. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Game 2 will be coming up shortly. UNG has taken the first game versus OWU Esports. We have a substitution on OWU's side with Sleepers coming out and Sporty Leaf substituting back in as an ADC. Now, in the top lane, we've got Darius for OWU and Malphite for UNG. Out of the jungle position, we have a Mumu for OWU, and we have Sejuani for UNG. The mid lane, we have Vladimir versus Orianna. Out of the bot lane and support for OWU, we have Ashe Nautilus versus Kai'Sa Rell. In game 1, OWU in the second phase banned Malphite. They traded this ban for the Renekton. And unfortunately, when you see that Orianna come out, I do wonder if maybe that Malphite ban would have been a good option. Assuming that Malphite can get into a good spot, it's going to be followed up with that Orianna ult, and that'll be all she wrote for the team fight. So they've got a really nice wombo combo coming out of the University of North Georgia. That doesn't mean that they have the game on lock, because there are a lot of nice tools coming out from the OWU comp as well. They got their Mbumu, and with Haru on Vladimir, he has a much more team fight prowess and a much higher comfort level on the champion. Ashe provides a lot of AoE and additional initiation, so you can catch that Kai'Sa, you can catch that Orianna before the team fight even starts with a good Ashe arrow. And Darius has gone crazy in some of these fights last week. So we're going to see if OWU can play around a very strong and very obvious dive comp. University of North Georgia's comp wants to do exactly one thing. And honestly, OWU's comp is very happy to meet them. We're just going to see who executes better. We'll be getting into game very shortly now, and thank you so much for your patience. All right. University of North Georgia already pinging out that there are no teleports on the side of OWU. They are playing Ghost Flash for both the mid lane and top lane, which gives them a lot of mobility in team fights. Incredibly important, but it does mean that they are not going to be able to find themselves in the bottom lane at the same time as the mid and top of North Georgia. So they'll have to play around that quite a bit. Ooh, a grab at level 1 start to... Let's see if they can get the flash. There's the flash, but that may not be enough. That is first blood. And here comes fight number 2. Let's see if Darius can get out without burning the flash. He's going to have to flash, but you know what? They are happy to take 2 summoner spells. The crash down, not enough. There might be a pull into tower range. What a nice start. Kingfish grabbing first blood. And let's see what he picks up for his trouble. Both summoner spells in trade for first blood is a trade they are happy to make. An extra ruby crystal going with a little extra HP to lane. Nautilus is going to go ahead and give that clear start to the Mumu. Ashe is looking like she's going to get into lane first. Start looking for that push level 2. And we're going to see a Sporty Leaf and Lorado look for that play at level 2. Third, doing just enough to clear that way. Haru is going to be much healthier on this Vladimir, as it is pretty consistently bringing back HP. He has lost level 1 push, or the level 2 push, but that's okay. That is pretty expected. The Vladimir only has single target damage. That Orianna does a pretty good job of getting AoE damage. going to see if he can clean up some of the CS and continue to... Ooh, good damage coming out of the Orianna. That is definitely kill range for this Haru. Let's see what he decides to do about it. Is he going to go get a Q on this camp over here to regen some HP? He is. Let's see if that is enough to keep him in the lane. Meanwhile, we have a large XP gap opening up in the top lane. Haru continuing to get bullied around. A large XP gap. We're talking 2 waves out of the first 4 waves in the top lane. That is a massive CS advantage. In the mid lane, Haru is behind by a wave, but does have that assist, so the gold stays relatively even. And let's see if he decides to do a Q-Max build, or if he says, you know what, maybe we need to look into doing the W build. He's got 1 point in Q currently. Sporty Leaf getting a little bit of free poke back. That Ashe W, very, very good. Ooh, and Kingfish, they are tired of being behind up here. They're going to see if they can do anything about it. He has no summoners, but he is going to heal off the wave. This may be a kill. In a 1v2, Kingfish takes one down. Continuing to push that lead up top for OWU. They banned it in the first game. They didn't ban it in the second. Oh, Larada goes aggressive. Forces the crash down and the abilities out. No summoner spells burnt, but additional chunk. Forcing the Kaisa to chug a potion to try to stay healthy. A substantially better start this time for OWU. Instead of being 1,000 gold behind, they're almost 1,000 gold ahead. I would say favorable picks across the board for their team counts. Very, very comfortable picks here. Sporty Leaf looking to bait them back. Looks to be throwing their things out. Make them feel like they're safe to go. And here comes the Amumu. Let's see if they can turn it into a kill. They get the crash down, but they don't get any of the summoner spells. Sejuani here to counter. They get pinged off by aware teammates who say, you know what, it is not worth dying for CS, but it is worth dying for a kill. And Thur being in position first, being ready to go, and Larada not being scared of that Sejuani means even more advantages coming out for the OWU side. What a difference between Game 1 and Game 2. This is one of those series where you see the first game and you think, well, we know how this is going to go. And then Game 2 starts up and you think, you know what? They had us in the first half, not going to lie. So we got Kingfish continuing to clean up CS. Let's see if that extra... Ooh, here comes the fight. Beast Loser backs away, taking a little bit more chunk. No, Kingfish is just going to be happy to clean up that CS. He is ahead of 28 CS, which is approximately 5 waves or so at this point. 5 waves being worth more than a kill, and Kingfish knows that he can't get that even with the ghost thanks to the slow. The Sejuani is going to take a look here middle, realizes there's nothing to get against the Vladimir who has pool and flash. Kingfish going to take a trade here. The Malphite, ooh, this may be a problem. Ooh, was that a, did he just dodge the ult? He didn't. But, what a smart play. He drops his ward over the Raptors so that he can heal himself up on the Raptors. Hopefully, with the little bit of extra vision. Oh, Larada looking to be in position to make a play. No play to be made. Looks like they'll get grubs. Looks like Sejuani can't contest. They're checking the dragon because they don't know if the dragon's on the board as well. Looks like Rel is going to make a play middle. Let's see how that turns out. We've got Haru with Flash and Ghost up. So maybe Rel's just looking to shadow, make sure that there's not a gank. And Haru trading more effectively as this lane goes on. Kingfish being taunted by Malphite, who does not look to be successful in the lane. But let's be honest, you're not picking Malphite for the lane prowess. You're picking Malphite for its prowess in the team fight and the ability to get the Orianna Shockwave. Ooh, And that was a very nice pool that we just missed as it changed lane. Now, this Orianna is going... Oh, looks like they were going to cancel the back. Decide not to. Decide to just clear up the wave. Haru does not have teleport and thinks, well, that's good enough for me. We'll make him sacrifice some CS. Now the buys are happening. Let's see what we've got. We've got a Phage and Tier 2 boots for the top laner. It wants to go fast. Both those items will do it. The Phage has an on hit, creating 20 move speed when it is used. Ooh. Sporty Leaf gets one. Do they get the second? The ult comes out. Orianna is going to come down, and that's going to be a problem. Oh, but the Ashe ult comes out. Orianna has to flash away. Larada still being chased. Sporty Leaf gets a little too big. Does the Vladimir come in and finish the job? The Vladimir finishes the job, and it is a 2-for-1 special out of the bot lane fight. Ashe's eyes got a little too big for their stomach. Maybe if Ashe and Larada had turned and just stayed on the one target after the Orianna flashed out, they could have done it without losing a man, but still a very advantageous trade. Understand the hype that goes along with it, and they're going to turn that into a dragon. Darius, realizing that he does not have that TP, is going to have to come down and shadow just a little bit. If he shows in his wave, then they know that it's safe for the Malphite to make a rotation. Darius is going to go ahead and just try to take the Scuttle Crab, so that when the Sejuani comes down, there's nothing to take. And looks like not going to get it. The Sejuani is going to get it for free. Unfortunate. All right. As everything starts to calm down, you've still got a very large XP advantage out of the bot. Ooh, here comes a fight. Ashe very happy to put damage down. Here comes a good hook from Murata. The damage is going on to the Kai'Sa. Ult used on the Rel. Don't get too close. And Haru continuing to trade. Is down significantly in CS in that mid lane, but with 1 kill and 1 assist, that definitely helps. A much stronger showing from OWU. At this point, they were down about 2,000 gold. Now they're up about 1,600, which is a much better affair here. Kingfish. Ooh. Kingfish continuing to trade well on the top side. An interesting ward there. And they continue to farm out. So we had calls for... They lost the first game. That's okay. It's going to be a 2-1 OWU's way. Let's see if they are right. Haru making an aggressive play here. Oh, and a good pull to avoid the ultimate. But here comes the Sejuani. And that'll be all she wrote for Haru. Going down 1-1-1. Good damage coming out from Sporty Leaf. Really wanting to make a play there. But not yet throwing out the Ashe ult. The Ashe ult... that arrow is a longer stun duration, depending on the distance it's traveled. Haru coming with the double needlessly large rod, so a lot of AP right at the beginning. A completed item already for the Orianna, though. So we're going to see, is it better to have a... Ooh, and that Orianna hurts. Third, all by himself in the pit. Kingfish or somebody may need to rotate if they want to make that play. Let's see how this goes. Looks like it is going to be the support from University of North Georgia getting there first, but is it best? That looks like one, and they might trade 1 for 1, but looks like no. It's going to be a 2 for 0 because of the rotations. I think Darius would have liked to have that one back and gone and joined. So that's a good clawback. Now they're within 600 gold. That lead cut in half for OWU. But by no means out. The Ashe needs to really be aware of their range. A good job sticking just the end of it, but The flash is coming up soon as Kai'Sa takes plate after plate in that mid lane. As the buys come through, we see working towards the stride breaker out of the top lane for the Darius. And looks like Liandry's coming out as a first purchase for the Amumu, which is not a shock. Zeke's Convergence for the Sejuani. That is an item where when she ults, it adds an AoE effect and has some good defensive stats. So really good, cheap first buy for the Sejuani. And it looks like Malphite is going straight for a Thorn Mail, which prevents some of the healing from the Darius, which makes a lot of sense. Darius continuing to clear is up significantly, has almost doubled, not quite, but is looking to double the CS of the Malphite. He's in real trouble here, but he does not know it. Actually, he did know it. The Orianna and the Sejuani are going for a little ride through the river, through the jungle. Let's see if they get pinched. Thur coming up to supplement, and let's see if there's a play to be made. Nope, they sniff it out, and they say, maybe I don't want this, and decide to back away. Now, here comes the dragon setup. We are going to get rid of the scoreboard so we have more of a ranged here. Ooh, a nice Q, max range for Thur. And here comes the ultimate on both the carries. That is a big start. Larada very happy to make sure that one goes down. Here comes the ultimate. Here comes, ooh, and a good block on the Ashe ult, but another one is going to go down for free. The team fight really coming through for OWU. The prowess there with the good catch, the good completion, forcing them out and finding the objective. So that lead widening again to 1,300 or so. A nice series for OWU, clutching back in on a game that was starting to turn a little bit the other way. So what we're seeing is, with good setup on those objectives, with a good catch and looking to take advantage of those carries, OWU can make plays that actively put themselves back in the game. I shouldn't say back in the game when they're ahead. Haru yet to finish that first item, looking at a death cap first. The Liandry's Torment now finished for the third. Oop. And Larada just going to be able to walk it out. No summoner spells needed. And the Ashe has finished the Kraken Slayer as a first item, puts good damage down, and allows them to become more of a damage threat than some of the other builds allow for. Here comes the Hawkshot, providing a little bit of vision, and clearing the wards in bot lane itself. Ashe going to recall, but in a bad spot. Thankfully, becomes less greedy. Top lane, another battle. Ooh, and a good grab. Is it enough? There it comes, and the flash is expended as well. Big advantage for Darius in the top lane. That is a 3-kill, 50 CS advantage in the top lane, 40 CS advantage in the top lane, in addition to the turret. They're going to trade the turret in the bot lane, but they're going to be happy to do it. Ooh. Ashe less happy to do it, as it turns out, standing on top of the ball. And very lucky not to get the shockwave, as it was still on cooldown. Now, look, this looks like a Rift Herald, which means more turret cracking power for OWU. Are they going to end up trading the turret for it, or will Haru get back in time to make sure that that doesn't happen? Looks like we'll get back in time. We're going to see if they're going to use that Rift Herald to try to crack open a turret, or are they going to save it to force an objective later? OWU looks like a different team this game. Much more organized. And I think getting that kill level 1 really does help, especially when you've had a bad first game, things are feeling rough, and then suddenly you get gifted that level 1. It's got to be a better feeling. Got to feel like, you know what, we're good. We got this one. That looks to be a completed Stride Breaker, and we're going to check. Yep, I completed Stride Breaker for Darius, and the Winged Plate for good measure. That Winged Plate providing a little extra move speed. The Darius, which he desperately enjoys. He has 3 collapsing up on him. They will be spotted out, and Darius will retreat. Mid lane, Haru is in a little bit, but has the hook as an idea to keep Vladimir safe. He didn't actually want to land the hook, so that was probably ideal, given. With no collapse from the top side, they're happy to throw that ult out just to ensure that nobody goes down here. They're still sitting on an ultimate, but there's a Vlad ultimate as well. But without that Ashe or the Darius, not sure where the damage is going to come from. So Darius is making a roam up. Now does Sporty throw up the ultimate just to do a little fishing, see what you can get? And it looks like here comes the ult from Third. Team fight has started. Third back on the Kai'Sa again. The rest of the team can't particularly follow. Vlad gets in, gets the kill on the support. Third goes down. Kingfish in the back line. Here comes the Third. And the Orianna will make it out by the skin of their teeth, but in trade for the turret, it'll be a 3-for-1 team fight. Third very happy to be the sacrificial instigator for that, and it looks like they may just get a tower of their own. With Haru and Kingfish working on that. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Sporty Leaf has taken the tier 1 and is starting to put damage down in the tier 2. Again, a lot of objective control and a lot of substantially better positioning this round from OWU. Orianna, again, Shockwave was burned in the previous fight, so no Shockwave to take out that Ashe, even though there was a moment there where if she had it, it would have been quite dangerous. But if they're keeping track of those cooldowns, it's a non-issue. Ashe decides to go... thought about staying in a very dangerous position and decided to back up a little bit. Recalling in the bush that was just warded, a bold plan. Let's see how that works out for him. And we'll get out safely. Now, Sporty Leaf does not have the ult now, but will have it soon. It looks like that dragon is just going to be given over. No contest to be made. And let's see if they instead take the Rift Herald, drop it middle, and try to break tier 2 middle in order to, yep, they will drop it right within range. Let's see if they get in and drive it, or if they just say, you know what, I've missed it enough that we don't, oh, here comes Vladimir. But right into the team fight, Third gets out, but can he get a flash over the wall to escape as well? Third will get out, Haru will get out, Larada, Sacrificial Lamb for crashing the Rift Herald. So right now the gold is extended to about a 3,500 gold lead over 20 minutes. Not enough for objective bounties, but enough to feel like they're in a strong winning position. 4 grubs to 2 means that there are mites spawned when attacking a turret, which is good for the Darius, good for the Ashe, and whomever is hitting a turret. Ashe being a little aggressive right now. Let's check in on itemization and see how things are going. We've got Amumu working on magic resistance, which makes a lot of sense because at this juncture, basically everyone on University of North Georgia's team does magic damage. Kai'Sa does about 50-50 with this sort of build. Orianna does almost exclusively magic damage, and Malphite does about 70-30. So a very effective use of resources there. Looks like you've already got a Force of Nature on Darius in addition to the Merc Tread, so he's already itemizing for the magic resist. And this is a difficult position for University of North Georgia to come back from. Looks like a Thorn Mail is a second item on Larada, just to look to prevent some of the healing. But there isn't a ton of healing coming down on the side of University of North Georgia, so that may be a better option for a another support item. But sometimes old habits die hard, and you work towards those items that make you feel powerful and comfortable. It looks like they're looking to make a play on the Orianna. Orianna has no vision and is going to be absolutely murdered for their trouble. Wow, that was a... Somebody call the police. That was That was a nasty 1-2 combo. That person had a family. Ah, but they're making a Baron play. Do they have a Ash Vision play? Here to check it out. This is a Desperation Baron and a very reasonable one to make. There comes the Ash Hawk shot. And so now the jig is up. Let's see if folks can get there in time to contest. We don't care about that turret right now. We care about this play right now. Haru going in, looking to make the play, comes in, and what a nice two-man fight into the 3. And you know what? We'll go ahead and take that. Thank you very much. Do they even? They lose Haru, but they get so much instead. Wow. What an absolutely wonderful trade from OWU. Caught it at the right time. That vision is so important to their game. That hawk shot giving them the option to stop that. And now um, they will also take an inhibitor and get lanes pushing. Ashe looks like taking that next turret. Darius taking the inhib before recalling. And Amumu getting the wave shoved up. I don't think Amumu is probably going to stay for the whole turret, but just a little bit of extra farm and money. OWU now at an almost 10,000 gold lead. Objective bounties now on the board. And this game has definitely come into a position where it's OWU's to lose more than it is University of North Georgia's to win. Um, I love the composition, the plan coming out of UNG, the Kaisa to be able to reposition, the Malphite for the initiation, putting the ball on either of those, Shockwave to the back line on that Ashe. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter if the Malphite isn't allowed to leave lane because of the Darius. So, and this is a great play if you're behind. They overloaded aside, they made sure they had vision, and they tried to play out and take one down to give themselves an odd-numbered fight. It was sniffed out. Darius isn't the target you want for that. Bad luck is bad. And bot wave will push on its own as the dragon spawns. This will be soul point, which will give another win objective for OWU. Now, it seems very likely that a missed hook may not mean too much if Thur can get in there with an ultimate. A good shockwave is not enough to turn the fight. As Sporty Leaf is untouched in the back lane, what good positioning from that Ashe and a great hook. That is 4. That is 5. A clean ace. Amumu will go ahead and clear up the dragon, but it looks like OWU is going to clear up the game for their trouble. And that looks to be game 2 in commanding fashion for OWU. As the wave comes in, 6 seconds on the jungle, 5 seconds on the support. Will they have time to go ahead and finish it out? And here comes Sporty Leaf to go ahead and finish it up. And the big fear from the Darius. Darius on the legendary. Looks like here comes the Malphite with one last-ditch effort. Here comes Thur to clean it up. A little bit of a disjointed finish. Honestly, it would have been, the cleaner play would have been for all of them to go in and finish the game, but it looks like that's going to happen either which way. Great game from OWU to bring it back, and it looks like Professor Bailey's prediction of 2-1 to OWU may just be right. So that is a win to OWU, and we are going to very soon be ready for Game 3. And we are back into Champ Select for Game 3. University of North Georgia has decided to take the blue side. Let's see how they adapt to this pick ban. This will be their first opportunity to be on blue side, as OWU relegated to the red side, which, of course, strong for their color coding at least. Their color scheme? Color scheme. So let's see how the pick ban adapts. We had OWU in a substantially stronger game this last rotation. I wonder if they're going to let that Vladimir come through this time. Thank you again to the OWU esports team for allowing us to um, co-stream. We appreciate you, and we will be ready for draft as soon as it begins. We are still in the waiting phase. I think if I were University of North Georgia, I don't think I would let Vladimir or um, Katarina through. Or if you go, well, the Vladimir was a problem enough, why ban the um Katarina? I think the Amumu is something to consider taking off. I think the Ash was a strong showing for the ADC of OWU's side. And some of these things you can relieve the pressure on by banning, and some of these things you can pick around in order to kind of create a less strong situation for them to play in. Okay, here comes the first ban for University of North Georgia. Udyr as the first ban. Let's see what the response is from OWU. The Zac will be taken off the board. Katarina immediately banned. Are they going to continue to ban that Skarner? The Syndra hovered. I think that's a good choice. Thinking about the Skarner, thinking about the Syndra. Which you more scared of? I think the Syndra is the correct call. And the Jax hover. So it looks like the Vladimir may get through again. Now the question is, what are you first picking as University of North Georgia? Are you going to take away that Amumu? Does OWU say, well, we're really happy with how things went, so we're going to leave some choices open. You'll get one, we'll get two. And here comes the Skarner ban. This is one of those situations in which you know University of North Georgia is going to pull a power pick, and you have the option of trying to get two back on the other side. But we'll see how that works. And it will be the Amumu taken off the board. That shouldn't be a shock. Um, I am anticipating that we're going to see Vladimir Ash, since they don't need to pick up their jungler yet to match. If they're wanting to make sure they get those picks, if they feel like they're comfortable getting them, then maybe picking up a different jungler. So the Vi comes out first. Looks like they're not worried about losing the Vladimir or the Ash, which were two of their three in the first round of rotations. But there was no contest on that Vi, so if they end up losing another one of their picks, they'll be discouraged by that later, I'm sure. And the Vladimir comes through. So let's see what University of North Georgia decides to go to for the bottom lane. Are they going to offer? Are they going to opt back into that Jinx matchup? Are they going to want to deal with the Nautilus bot lane? I think University of North Georgia is pretty happy to take the Rise, an old school counter to Vladimir, and a strong pickup for University of North Georgia. They were waiting for that Vlad to come through. Their mid laner has done a very solid job on this pick throughout the course of this year, so we're going to see how that matchup goes. And they're looking for the Braum again. This makes a lot of sense knowing that the Ashe came out last game. They were probably waiting for that Braum to come out versus the Ashe. Now, yeah, and here's the Ashe hover. Even with the Braum, they think, yeah, I still want it. I don't think that that's. I think Spory Leaf has done a great job on the Ashe so far this year, and that's a pretty strong lock. So phase two bans. Let's see if the Renekton stays on the board. Let's see if that they have twice banned the set. There's the Renekton hover. Let's see if they lock that ban. You know, it has to be discouraging to ban the Skarner and the Zac just for them, University of North Georgia, to lock that Amumu. There comes the Olaf in response, continuing to pinch the top pool. And let's see. And there's the set ban as well. Or the set hover. And the Darius in response makes sense. My expectations is Nautilus will come out here, hide the last pick for your top lane, give them counter pick, and the hover comes through. That is the expectation. And let's see if that gets locked. Three seconds to lock, and it is locked. At this point, Malphite was an option for the top lane, and we also saw the Kai'Sa come through. They don't have the same level of dive comp here, so maybe the Jinx is an option with the Braum to protect. My expectations will see the Jinx come through, and there's the Jinx hover, and there's the Jinx lock. Now for top lane, a lot of options here, but my guess is that they'll probably go with an early game option to have that winning lane. So we may see something like Anar come out. We may see something like a Gragas come out. Both very strong blind picks. But with an Ashe and a Mumu, the Gragas leaves you very AP heavy. The Jinx, of course, a very strong AP laner. And here comes the big frontline tech. They're playing a 2-threat Ryze Jinx hyperscaling comp. And what comes out from OWU in response? This is something where a Camille would make a lot of sense. A Gangplank would make a lot of sense. Something that can really kind of take advantage of tanks and progress the game in a way that gets you moving. We may see something like the Aatrox from Fish, and it's Fiora. Fiora is such a wonderful pick into tanks. Gives you a beautiful split push option. I'm actually a big fan of this pickup. Hey, roping up. Yeah, I wish we got to keep that Amumu too. I think I think the if I were doing the pick ban, I honestly would have dropped the Skarner and Zac ban and say, you know what, you got to pick one of the two you like, or you got to pick the Amumu. If you're going to pick the Amumu anyway, then these two bans are worthless. And sub some of those other things in. Pinch the pool a little bit more from the mid laner. You want Echo from what, the mid lane or from the jungle? Well, that is it for Champ Select. We're going to go ahead and run our ads so that we don't have any of those annoying ads during our game. And we will be back. Thank you so much for everybody who's listening along, and go woo. Welcome back. We've got about a minute, 10 seconds before we can get into game and begin. I've gone ahead and started another prediction, and I'm really worried, to be honest, um, that I am the jinx by setting up the prediction. So if we'll lose this game with me doing two predictions and those being the only two losses I've um, cast, that I will stop doing predictions in the future because I am incredibly superstitious. So welcome back. We are going into game three with UNG taking away that Amumu, but uh, OWU Esports being able to snag the Vladimir and the Ashe as a result, and bringing the Vi, which they have used as a counter in the past, to the Amumu. So good to see a relatively stable comp. I do wonder if maybe banning 3 jungle picks, but it was not the reason why that Amumu got taken. Now, it may be that they'd rather lose the Amumu and not have to deal with the Skarner, but, that's something for the OWU players to decide. Spectator delay is, ooh, looks like that game did not get started. So we've gone through the spectator mode. But what about the second spectator mode? So we're going to see if we get into game here soon. Yep. They are doing a remake. So we're going to have another 3 minutes or so before we can spectate. But we can fill that airtime. Look, there's normally a play-by-play and a color caster. This is where we be doing some delightful banter. Instead, it is me by myself and just trying to do a back and forth. It doesn't sound like I've absolutely lost my mind more than I previously have. So I really, back to Champ Select, I'm really disappointed that we banned two junglers and then still lost the Amumu on first pick. I think maybe that was not the way to go. That is my personal take. That is not official take. And I am not shocked to see the Rise come in. In previous games, the mid laner from UNG has done quite well on that um, Fi. So Fi or Fi, whatever it happens to be. We're going to call him Fi, but if it's Fi, that's my bad. Has a strong rise and has carried previous games for their team against other esports organizations. So we're going to see if he can do it again on that rise. We see the Jinx coming out, and that has been a very strong pick for their bot lane, along with that Braum to offer some protection. When I look at these two compositions, I say, yep, that's what they do. And I'm looking at, you know, University of North Georgia coming through with late game scaling, the rise to make plays, and the tanky top and engaging jungle. Exactly what I would expect them to play. OWU coming with the engage jungle, the engage support, the team fighting carry and mid, and then that kind of split pushing carry wild card top laner. And I think that is a very OWU composition as well. So we're still waiting for the remake. Not sure what happened. We can check in. We will ask to see if there are any updates. We don't know if there are. Um, and we'll go from there. Thank you to all of you who are hanging out with us. Good to see. Uh, oh, do we have Neo with us? Welcome, Neo. Good to see you. You joined us previously. Series is 1-1. Um, and so here's an update. They remade the lobby, but two of the players had issues, one from each team, and so they are restarting again to try to fix the issues. So it was one from each side. That always makes things a little easier because people do not want to play with one of their players lagging. So sorting those things out before we get to game. The um, prediction window is down. Az is here. Welcome, Az. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. This is probably not what my traditional stream looks like with me rambling over top of a kind of a blank pregame screen. But again, we have a member from each team restarting, trying to get the tech issue sorted out. So that, ooh, I actually have a, there we go. See, I have a box for that too. Um, they're restarting. We will get a new lobby, and then we'll have another 3 minute increment before then. So on to win cons. There is a strong initiation combination coming from University of North Georgia. The Amumu always gives you a team fight when you want it, whether it's the flash, whether it's the Q. You don't have to hit the right person, you just have to hit a person, and then you can flash and get the person that you want. When you combine that with the rise so that you can get in from an angle that is unseen or catch somebody out with 2 additional people that maybe you thought it was a 3v3, but now it's a 5v5. Both of those are really, really strong options. Now, in the top lane, they had to blind pick that Ornn, and Ornn is an incredibly strong tank. It's going to enable that Jinx. It's going to be a great initiation and can do so out of Fog of War. But that Fiora is such a strong match into it, really providing an opportunity to take the fight to the top lane and possibly do what happened last game, which was Malphite was never allowed to play that game. And if that happens again, I just don't know that the Ornn is going to have the impact that maybe Ornn would normally have. So Ornn is one of those dangerous picks in a series like this where you have kind of the wild card player being the opposing top lane who has those picks who can take things up, because you look at it and you go, well, this is a great composition to bring that Ornn, right? We have this Jinx late game hyperscaler with the Braum in front of them, initiation for days, counter initiation for days, extra damage from that Ornn, good CC, lock him up, knock him down, and the Fiora may just put a wrinkle into that plan. Now, if I were University of North Georgia, my response to that would be, okay, so instead of attacking the main team, maybe what we do is we attack the Fiora on the side lane with the Rise, bring in the Jinx, bring in that Braum with the Rise, and look to catch them unawares. We'll be ready in about 2 minutes. An important time to go ahead and check out the skins. Most important one, of course, coming through Arcane Vi from Thur. Great show. Next season dropping in just a week or so. First few episodes. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Not a paid sponsor. Show's just really good. So far, the series is tied up 1-1. We are going into game 3. And we're going to see how it goes. We're at a 0. I'm wondering if we're still having load issues. And we are in. Thank you for your patience. Computer crash, but it's all good. We are good. He's in. Okay, cool. So it was not on our end. I panicked for no reason. We have the Amumu coming out with the Ornn with the Braum on the side of University of North Georgia. That is such a strong front line. We've got the Fiora to cancel all that strong front line, along with the Vladimir Ashe for damage on the side of OWU. And we have the Jinx Rise DPS coming out for UNG. Now, UNG has 2 very strong, very high damage carries in the Jinx, the Super Scaler, and what I would call the Shotgun Mage coming out from the Rise, which is short range, lots of damage, can do it kind of quickly. You could also call him Machine Gun Mage, as long as you're not bothered by calling spells, things like that. A lot of vision coming down on the south side. They say, you know what, Amumu is gonna have to start on the bottom side of the map. We're gonna see if Amumu actively tries to avoid the wards to trick them into thinking pathing bottom to top. Kingfish staying hidden. And now going to do a little bit of poke to get the game started. Lurata looking for bush control. Amumu now seen on the blue, or the red, I'm sorry. The blue side red. Horribly confusing. So that's going to be spotted out. Vice clearing bottom to top, Amumu clearing bottom to top. So we're going to see if they meet each other. Kingfish continuing to just say, you know what, I want to own top lane. Haru realizing that he lost the level 2 push and trying to just make sure that they clean up safely. Vision from OWU, or I'm sorry, from UNG in the tribe rush on the blue side. Vi crosses over, starts moving towards top jungle. Amumu looks to do the same, but because of the pathing, it's substantially slower. So Vi is going to have first move on top lane or the scuttle, whatever happens to be the desire. Fiora is going to push this wave in, and let's take a look at how the CS leads are going across the board. Jinx ahead pretty noticeably from on the bot lane from Swirly, and here comes the invade. Mumu has to flash away from his own blue buff. Let's see if there's a rotation. The top laner looks to be thinking about it. Kingfish says, you know what? I'm not locked in here with you. Vi does the same. And that'll be first blood going over the Fiora. Action in the bottom lane as well. With the Ashe looking like they're going to go down here. Can we get... Larada being able to body block. Now, can they get the Q to get out safely? Gonna have to flash. Still very happy to get them out. Good work on the support side to ensure that both get out alive. So right now, about a 500 gold lead. That is purely from the first blood and assist money. A small CS advantage for top and jungle, and a small deficit for mid lane, and a larger deficit coming out from the bot lane. Kingfish continues to poke and prod and take advantage of the tank matchup with Fiora. Haru safely farming. Happy to be back on the Vladimir, I am sure. A Mumu clearing that bottom scuttle, going back to farm their first camp. With that, and here comes the Mumu. Just going to go ahead and give it a Q, or a pool, and say, you know what, I'm actually happy not to get stunned out by the Mumu. Thank you. A good ward into the pit. It's always a nice vision path for when you have someone like an Amumu in the game who can go over. Helps you stay safe, helps you figure out where their pathing is. And now they're going to see that Amumu is moving towards the bottom side. That ward enables that sort of vision and can allow, and they know exactly what camp. So a very smart ward, really opening up the intelligence game over here. Without the need for the hawk shot coming out. On the bottom side, the CS lead has not expanded yet, but there's a large wave being pushed towards the Jinx, and she's going to be able to catch most of that, meaning that this lead will continue to widen just a little bit. And Fiora wanting to take a look at the Ornn, see what can be done about it, but won't catch that melee CS. So up about 14 CS in the top lane, and down about 10 CS in the bot lane and mid lane. Means that OWU is flying about neutral. When you look at it across the board, the advantage continues to has widened a little bit compared to the just the kill and assist gold. And that gold is probably coming out from that widening CS gap in the jungle as well. So another look coming out here from the Amumu. Larada getting a nice pull onto a minion instead of a champion. And no summoner spells left to be had over there. I'm not sure that that's an engage that you want. Haru going to go ahead and get out of there with his life. And another aggressive pull. The Braum ready to block the Ashe's damage, and looking for level 6. So we'll see the Vi taking advantage of the pressure that's being put on by the bottom lane. Go ahead and try to take that dragon. Let's see if they can finish that up. Yep, there it is. And now bottom lane knows, you know what, actually there may be a Vi ghosting us here. But instead of shadowing the bot lane, Vi is going to go back, get her blue buff, and make a look towards resetting or ganking afterwards. Let's see if that's level 6 for the Vi. There it is, and is a reset instead of an ultimate. Meanwhile, bottom lane is about to see the level 6s tick over as well. Another baby cage comes out on the rise. With the level disadvantage, feels fairly certain. There's level 5, but still a noticeable disadvantage in levels for the support Larada versus the others. And I think it would not surprise me. Here comes a bit of a play. That as soon as as soon as someone hits 6, they're going to make a play. There it is. And as a small saving grace, the first one goes over to the support, but the second one won't. And here comes that Vi. Are they going to find purchase? Looks like no. Flash will be burnt, and Rise will go back to base. So that early advantage for OWU has now dissipated to a 700 or so gold lead. Ooh. Kingfish just taking the plate right in the face of the Ornn. A little disrespectful, and pays with half their HP. And some swagger. Ashe coming back out. About 21 CS down, and a kill and an assist. So that's one of those just forgot their level timings, you know? And there's a lot of punishing to be had for that. Fiora is probably in a position to reset pretty soon. Has a 25 CS lead and a kill advantage over top lane, which means that they are in a good spot to continue to punish with that level advantage. Mumu coming up. That is a danger for the bottom lane. Danger Will Robinson pinged off the camp, and yet they are not backing up. And that looks like this could be another double kill. Flash into the Mumu ult. No Ashe Arrow yet. Here comes the Ashe Arrow. And do they get out with just the one death? They do, and it goes to support, so less bad than it could have been, but very telegraphed. And the bottom lane succumbs to the desire to be pushed up at all times. If you're going to push up, you have to have the vision. And their Amumu combination along with that Braum are showing them why over and over again. On the top lane, Vi is going to force them to trade something for it, but it's going to be something that they're trading for plate number 3 and possibly 4 from the ADC. That Jinx is very accelerated, looking at a 24 CS lead over the Ashe. Almost as large as the top lane advantage. And with the extra 2 assists, may just well be there. 91 CS on the Rise, 91 CS on the Fiora, 70 on the Jinx, 78 on the Vladimir, 51 on the Ashe, 60 on the Orange. So across the board, pretty equivalent CS, just not on the same people. The big difference being those 4 plates, such a huge amount of gold, and the extra 2 kills. This is not a down-and-out sort of position by any means for OWU, but it is a cautiously worrisome one. They're in a position now where they're about to be hit by the extra man. Rise looking to make the play. And they will realize what's going on, get themselves out of harm's way, and just probably pass up this objective. They're considering it, but that looks to be a solid 6 grubs. They're going to let it go. Solid 6 grubs for University of Northern Georgia. The Jinx looking to 1v2 and continue on in the bot lane. The CS gap has closed modestly, down to 3 waves difference, which is moving in the right direction for OWU's bottom lane Sporty Leaf. No kill to be had yet for the Fiora versus this Ornn. Ornn is a very strong laner, especially for tanks. And but the later this game goes, the harder and harder it's going to be for the Ornn to deal with that Fiora. And again, another a good ult, preemptive ult by the Nautilus to save the summoner spells. I really like that coming out of Larada. Said, oops, we did not think the Braum would be here, but now without the vision, the Sporty Leaf is in trouble again. Let's see if the Vi can get here in time to prevent this from being... And here comes the TP from the Fiora. Here comes the Jinx. The Jinx is going to be trade first. And Rise is here as well. It looks like it's going to be... And so is Ornn. It is 5 men in the bot lane. And it looks like Larada is going to go down as well. It looks like it's going to be a 4-for-1 on the back of a pair of TPs, or a TP and a Rise ult coming from UNG, and only the one TP to be had from OWU. A good look, but ultimately outmaneuvered, and no play to be made. So that play will also get the dragon, and suddenly there is a lead opening up, not quite as deeply as in the first game, but a 7-2 kill score, not what you want to see 13 minutes in. Let's see if OWU can keep their cool, reset their mental, and say, hey, we had a good look, it didn't work, we still have a win condition this Fiora, we still have a lane to play through, we can still continue to push this advantage that we have up here, and play safely with the Ashe allowing us to kind of hold lanes and give that Fiora some space. Because that, honestly, to me, looks like the win condition right now. Sporty Leaf does not seem to be phased at all. Happy to go up and fight into this Ashe, or fight into this Jinx without the vision of the opposing team. And right now, they're going to be sitting on a ward. Larada does not yet have a sweeper and cannot see where those items are. Amumu on a ward. They know they're not about to be ganked. The Vi making a look for the Rise, but not going to find them. And instead, they will just happily take the Rift Herald. And looking to pull back into tower range. Didn't quite get it there. A good look, but maybe not worth the ultimate as well. And with that, and it looks like we may have a 2 for 0 coming through. A good ult, but ultimately not good enough to keep either of them alive. And there goes the bot lane. When University of North Georgia has an opportunity to focus on these bot lanes, boy, do they do damage. Without the vision, without the communication, it looks like this is going to continue to be a losing bot side of the map for OWU. And now the question becomes, is there going to be an option for the top lane to bring it back? They actually slowed down a little bit as we have some disjointed resets. Mid lane has a little bit of fight left in them. They're being shadowed by the bottom lane coming out of University of North Georgia, but not a play to be had. It looks like they will swap up lane assignments. And Rise will go back, get a buy, purchased an Archangel Staff, which is a dangerous situation for OWU to be in, as that is a big purchase. And Fiora and Vi looking to see if there's something to be had at top lane. Here comes the Rift. They say, you know what, this time we are not sparing it for an objective. Our goal is to get this Fiora ahead. We're going to do that through crashing this turret. The question is, can the money go to... Nope, they're going to split that money. And that makes some sense. Try to get the second crash, and they will do so. But at what cost? Now here comes... Ooh, what good damage coming out from the Fiora, but 1 versus 2. Don't know that it's going to happen. Flash comes out, but here comes the Amumu. And here comes the rest of the team. Vi ulting in on the Jinx to try to get out, but with the Brown passive stacking up, that's not to be. Catching the wave far back, and the bot lane means that there was just no way to contest. OWU has vastly different lines of attack here, with pushing to the tier 2 in top lane, being pushed to their own tier 2 in bot lane, And that just creates a situation in which you're not going to have the ability um, to contest those dives. So hopefully, lesson learned. Infernal Drake coming out in 17 seconds. Now, OWU does have a Drake, which means they can give this one up and not worry about Soul Point, which is good for them because they need some time. On the flip side, um, University of North Georgia is not worried about scaling. They have that Jinx, and that Jinx is already big. And they're just waiting to find a time to break this game open and finish it up. It is going to be on OWU to find a way to utilize this Fiora for the win. Is there a split push option to take this game home? Fiora will continue to push waves, but without vision, what is there to do? So OWU needs to go ahead and, if they want to play this split push, they need to get vision on the top side of this map, because right now it is very, very dark for the OWU players. Everywhere but in the river. And the river is not far enough out for you to be able to split push. Jinx has just purchased a Phantom Dancer. That's a big buy. And now Jinx is sitting on Phantom Dancer, Kraken Slayer. A lot of attack speed. Good for rockets, good for minigun. We're likely to see an IE next. That's one of those times where, with those repeated Qs, Nautilus needs to be standing in front to block those for them. Vi decides to make an appearance, decides better from it, rises here, looks to ult to get in there, and will... I am not sure what Larada wanted to catch there. And the unsafe recall will be a kill. If you're that low, you are too close to it if the tower is almost dead. Haru is going to try to clear the wave, but is it going to be enough, or is this going to be another set of kills coming over to University of North Georgia? This game has gone from bad to worse, and yet after 20 minutes, there's still only a 4,000 gold lead. Thanks to that first tower coming through top, and some of those CS leads coming through from top and jungle, with the CS numbers stabilizing mid and bot, this game has gone from unwinnable to not in a good position for OWU. They have been able to keep their gold up. They have avenues of attack. But boy, does that Amumu make a difference. 6-1 and 3 in Link's hands. And I just wonder, would it have been such a bad thing if he had gotten Skarner instead? Would it have been such a bad thing if he had gotten the Zac instead? But here we are. No hook coming out of Larada. Can't hook while you are snared because the hook moves you. And so just a look. Thur taking a glance, but no follow-up. The Vladimir leaving them hanging, so that's... Thur's going to back up. Ashe rotating back towards the mid lane. And Larada looking to support the top laner. Going to force the pull out, and this may mean an ultimate comes out soon from Braum. Thinks better of it. And here comes the Ashe ult. Or the, but just surviving on the... Just surviving for Haru. Top lane, a 1v1. No one is going to interrupt, but Kingfish has no way of knowing that without any vision. Thinks better of it, backs up, decides to do a reset. Fiora has their Ravenous Hydra done. Trinity Force is coming up soon. Let's see if they have that on back. They do. And that 1-2 combination is an absolute nightmare for tanks. Meanwhile, this Amumu looking to get their CS numbers up, get the levels up. Those are rookie numbers. They've got that second level of their ultimate unlocked, as does Vi. Vi still has a few more CS, but at this point in time, that gap really does not matter when you compare the AoE initiation of the Amumu versus the single target initiation of the Vi. There's just no way that you want to be the Vi into the Amumu in that situation. So Fiora has a pink ward, but really could use a blue trinket or support. Larada Still has not swapped out. Oh, and here comes Y. That is going to be a dead Fiora. No way to get out. Meanwhile, bot lane, Haru will just barely live in a 1v3. And you see those two situations coming out side by side, you think, well, that's not ideal. So it looks like Baron is going to go down for free. Bot lane, they might get a turret, they might get a Rise kill, or they might get nothing. So it looks like they'll trade Baron for a single turret. It is what it is. You take what you can get. And that is what they can get. They're looking to see if they can also get a dragon out of it, but Jinx is considering making a play. Amumu has decided, nah, I'm just going to push out top wave. It's probably already gone. And so a dragon and a tower. And unfortunately, it will go down before objective bounties come up. In trade, top lane, that Baron push is very easily going to secure its own turret in response. The kill score now 13-2. And OWU needs to think, how are we getting back in this game? Less than 7k down. OWU has options to be made through the top lane, but without securing vision, without supporting that split lane push, it's just not going to go anywhere. So Ashe goes up, catches CS. And Fiora is going to take a look to see, is there something to be done here? Ashe looks to be rotating towards mid lane. Fiora is waiting around for the flank. Did they wait long enough? And here it comes. Black lane, back line on the Vlad. And here comes the Fiora into the back line. Let's see if they can get the Jinx down. Flash out. And it is a rout. One kill coming back onto the Jinx, but that'll be a strong push through OWU's middle. Sorry, my voice is not strong enough to do 3 games without another person supporting. And it looks like it's going to be a push for the end here. Can the carries of OWU push them back? And right now the answer so far is, well, no. Braum tanking a turret, but tanking a turret is not enough to kill even the support. Haru finally getting it, but at what cost? The Rise will live, the Amumu will live, and here comes the cleanup crew. Maybe they get one back. Kingfish on a bit of a mission here. Getting one, will he get the other? And he will. That's some nice gold back in the pocket, but is it too little too late? We'll see as they continue to push. Good game, never mind, coming out from the Ashe. And okay, so Kingfish saying, is there a play to be made here? And it looks like no. Larada walking into the explosion, forgetting it's an AoE, getting Kingfish hit anyway from the splash. And let's see if there's anything to be made here in the mid lane. Looks like we're at Desperation Alley at this point, looking for that overloaded numbers play. Sporty Leaf doing a good job putting down damage, but unfortunately more mobility, more movement, more TPs coming out for University of Northern Georgia. And this looks to be the push for the win. We've got 5v4, no structures in the way, and ultimate on Vladimir, ultimate on the Ashe, but it's still a 4v5. And it's going to have to be a heck of a play just to stop this Nexus from going down now. And that's without even considering how do you get back into the game. Here comes the Ashe, looking to make a play. They go onto the Jinx. Looks to be ultimates going over top of ultimates. Vladimir is down. Fiora is down. The Vladimir is next to follow. And that is the game. Series goes 2-1 to University of Northern Georgia. Good game, well played.